Hi everyone and welcome to Club 1 episode 19 of Rolling in the Isles, an FM20 British Isles Journeyman series with me, the United City FM. So what a difference a couple of games can make is my thought for today. We've now played 18 games. Up until recently we hadn't got a point on the board at all, and now we have 8. So how have we managed this? Well, you can remember a few weeks back in terms of game time we played Bohemians and finally got our first point on the board after all of these losses. We obviously, for those that are joining me newly to this series, we got promoted from the Irish First Division probably 2 seasons earlier than we expected, so our squad wasn't quite up to actually coping with the rigours of the Premier Division, and that demonstrated itself in the first few weeks of the season, like 12 losses in a row or whatever it was. We eventually got our draw against Bohemians. We then reverted back to losing a few games, which was unfortunate. But these are the 2 games that have really changed a few things. 3 games, should I say. Sligo Rovers, we came back in the previous episode and we played them and got a decent win. And that was followed up by a goal fest against Shamrock Rovers, which we came out on top in a 4-3 win. We then got a decent enough draw against Shelbourne, a 1-1 draw. We came up against our very local rivals and our very big rivals in Cork City, and they beat us quite comfortably 3-1. The next 2 games are not important in the sense of there was a space in our schedule, so I put a couple of friendly matches in there just to see if I can get some confidence up in our side moving forward. So it's these 3 results here, plus that one against Bohemians, that has begun to make our season not look quite as bad as it once did. Unfortunately for us, the next 4 games are really, really tough. So we played today St Patrick's Athletic, then we got Derry City, Dundalk and Waterford, and those 4 teams are 4 of the top 5 in the division. So you can see that we're going to be right up against it again. I suspect we're going to drop some points again, but at least now, looking at the table, we're not quite as adrift as we once were. And it gives us a basis to think that it is possible to get some points. The second half of this season will be very much decided on how we do against the likes of Bohemians and Down in the division. Can we continue to pick up points against these teams? The upper sides are probably too difficult. Cork City beat us relatively comfortably in the last big game, as I say. And today we've got St Patrick's followed by Dundalk, Derry and Waterford. So it's a tough run of fixtures. Anyway, what that now means is that there's been a slight reshape in the team in terms of personnel, because obviously whilst we're losing lots of games, we have to rotate and try new things to see if we can find a way to change our fortunes a little bit. So a couple of players have broken into the first team recently. So you can see though from today's fixture, we've got a completely full squad to choose from. There's lots and lots of positives in that. You also see that Hunt and Cronin are our high rating setting. They've set the high ratings for our players. But in recent games, I mean, if we go and look at Hunt, he's back down to a 6.6 and he's let 14 goals in 6 games in. So he's no better really than Horgan has been, although Horgan's let loads of goals in. It's still basically a couple of goals every game kind of ratio, which is the same as what Hunt has got, and I still think that Horgan is a better goalkeeper. So he's found himself back in the picture for a little while. And Cronin came in, scored a couple of goals, 2 goals in a couple of games, and then just went quiet a bit really. So I've reverted back to some better players again. That these players have had moments, but the other players potentially are just better all round. So who has found themselves in the team? Well, Dolan has found his way into the side, and the reason for that is that we've taken away, for a long time we've been playing 2 poacher attackers up top, just because most of our strikers have got that as their best way to play. But what we've found with Dolan is that he's got a heading of 14 and a strength of 12 and a jumping of reach of 12, And so we've changed him slightly, and using his strength and a little bit more of his heading ability, plus he got decent finishing and he's only young, we've changed him into a target man. And so that gives someone like Curran something to work off of. And so that's the partnership that we're now using, and it's Dunn that drops back onto the bench. Hanratty has also found his way back to fitness, and because of his crossing of 14 and his pace of 14, he's found himself on the left side of our midfield, and it's Power that drops back. You can see that Power's ratings in the key areas of actually producing crosses, etc., aren't great, and it's being demonstrated at this level. Last season he played very well, I thought. This season, not so much. So Hanratty's come in recently. And in the back, we've been talking a little bit about our lack of pace in the central defensive area. Things like pace of 10 is fairly average for what we've got in our defenders. But if we go to Marku, you can see that he's got 12. And so we've just placed him in there just for a little bit more pace, and see if he can make form a good partnership with Best moving forward, with the likes of Dooney and Kane either side. So Hurley comes in also in central midfield for Buckley. Buckley was just one of those players that was average rating wise not doing it particularly, hadn't really impacted too many games, and so instead of Buckley we've now put Hurley in there instead. They're much of a muchness, I would suggest, in terms of their attributes, etc., but you can see already that he's having slightly bigger impact, so that's why he's in the side at the moment. So the actual side from our 1 to 11 and our sub bench for today for a game against St Patrick's Athletic will be Horgan in goal, Dooney at right back, Kane at left back, Marku and Best in central defence, Hurley and Sangaré in central midfield with Turner on the right, Hanratty on the left, Dolan and Curran up top, with O'Riordan, Fleming, Buckley, Spalek, O'Driscoll, Power and Dunn on the bench. So let's get into this game and see what happens. So for the first time, pretty much, we're able to use the team talk of go out there and carry straight on from where you finished the last match. The last match, of course, being a friendly game, but one that we won comfortably. And that got some motivation. And this is entirely why I put the friendlies in there, to see if I can get some confidence and motivation up from some of these players. And hopefully that's worked. So we'll go in and find out. So we are at home. We've talked a little bit over the last couple of episodes of whether that's a good or a bad thing. I'm not 100% sure. Interestingly, for St Patrick's Athletic, you can see they've got a few injured players in their side and on their bench. They're obviously struggling a little bit for fitness, which is something that we've managed to rotate and keep pretty good. So an opportunity for them down their left-hand side. The cross comes in and we partially get it cleared. We get another opportunity to clear it, and eventually Hurley does, and Curran finds the ball up top, passes it on to Hanratty, who gets to power through onto the goalkeeper, has a good left-footed shot, but the goalkeeper gets down and parries it wide for a corner kick. The corner comes in from Turner and he goes far post, and it's loose, but Hurley finds it on the edge of the box, tries to get it back into the box himself, but it gets blocked and goes out for a throw-in down this left-hand side. So you can see that we are causing them as many problems as they're causing us at the moment, which is positive. Can we maintain that and find a way to take one of our chances? An opportunity for Patrick to... I don't know what to call them, St Patrick's, sorry. And they lose possession though, and it's, oh, wow. I was not expecting that kind of finish. And it was Dolan. So if we watch it, St Patrick's lose the ball in midfield, and we get an opportunity to counter-attack on them quite comfortably. It's Hanratty that wins the ball there. Curran onto Sangaré, and Sangaré pokes it through to Dolan, who doesn't take any time at all, but from the very edge of the box takes his shot and almost partially chips the goalkeeper into that top right hand corner, and that was a lovely finish. And you can begin to see why we've put him into our side recently. Again, we go over the top for Sangaré to run onto, and can he find the finish? And left footed, he puts it slightly wide of the post, but we're beginning to pressure them. We've also recently changed the shape of our formation, and we've dropped our defence back a little bit to cover the ground a little bit more, set back the line of engagement for our forward players slightly, but I think it's working better than it did before, which is an encouragement also. Just talking about that lack of pace that we had in the centre of defence, it feels like we're covering that defensive area better. Hanratty again with a good foot in. Kane with the long ball forward, but it's loose, and St Patrick's come back at us, but a good header from Best, and Sangaré controls it onto Hurley, and we try and go over the top again. Can Sangaré get there? He can, and onto Dolan, who holds the ball up well. Back to Sangaré, another opportunity for him, but a good goalkeeping parry, and again it goes out for a corner kick. You can see, though, dropping one of those forward players slightly deeper and playing that target man is working for us. Again, the cross comes in off the corner kick. Marku finds it on the edge of the box, holds it up very nicely. Can he get it back into the area? He can. It goes right the way across, though. Nobody's where he put the ball. And we get another opportunity, but again it's cleared. Marku will pick this particular ball up. Can we create another opportunity for a highlight? And Marku goes long, but we lose out and then regain possession. It's a little bit like that at the moment. And again, Dolan over the top. Can he find a good... he went for the shot and probably should have crossed it into the path of the on-running Curran to see if he could have got an open net goal. But yeah, bit of a mistake there. Again, we go long to Dolan, and he gets the ball back from Turner. Can he get the cross in this time? He can't, but Turner picks up the loose ball and does get the cross in. And there's Sangaré, and it just didn't quite go over that line, did it? It was trickling towards it, and I thought for a second we were going to get that goal. But again, we performed very well. Some good movements, some good interchange of play, good passing movements, decent crossing in from Turner down that right-hand side specifically. And I think we are good for our 1-0 lead. I think we've done pretty well so far against a tricky opponent. So we're going to be able to go in and praise them for that and suggest that, we're happy, but we've got to guard against some complacency, I think. I'm pleased with how things are going. Keep it up. Just puts the owners back on them to concentrate again for that second half and really maintain their focus. But you can see in terms of statistics, for the game, we might be slightly lesser than them in a lot of them, but immediately in the second half, we improved the one stat that is the most important, and that is the goal tally. The corner comes in, Dolan on the far post puts it back to Hanratty on the near post in terms of where the corner was taken from, and he gets an easy goal. And the one statistic that's the most important is that we now lead 2-0. And they can have all the ball possession that they like and all the shots on goal, but if they're not taking them, this is what happens. Of course, they could start taking them, and that could be a problem, so we'll hold off on that for a minute. But here they come down their left-hand side. Cross comes in. Good enough header just to get something on it, but it wasn't particularly well cleared. Eventually they have a second bite at the cherry and it hits the woodwork and eventually goes out wide down that far side. And we hold our own enough, just block the shots, die for the cause, as it were. And we're at 69 minutes now, and I've got to guard against a little bit of the lack of conditioning, a little bit, and some of the lower ratings here. So what can we do? So Stephen Best, do we dare take him off? I mean, he's playing so well, but he is lacking a little bit, and I don't want him to injure himself because he's so important. So I am going to have to take the gamble and take him off. Then we've got Turner down the right on a 6.7. We've got a couple of 6.9s. I'm going to take Curran off and put Dunn on some fresh legs up top. And I am going to take Turner off. And we're going to put O'Driscoll on down that right-hand side. Get some fresh legs there as well. So there's a bit of a gamble in there, a little bit with specifically Best. But we've got to look at the bigger picture. And we're 2-0 up, which is decent. And it could go quite easily the other way. But I've got to protect him for future games as well. So that's what we've chosen to do. Cross comes in again, and there's their first comeback goal. Please, no. Please, please, no. We've done so well. We've got 20 minutes now to survive and try and hold on to this win. So as soon as this is over, I will then pause the game and see if we can find a way to sort of maintain our win rather than go all out. Let's tactically change. Yes, we're going to do those changes. And then we're going to go into the tactics, and we're going to change to a defensive formation. We're going to bring Hurley back into this holding position. He's not particularly great at it, but I think just having a body in there is worth it. I might even drop Dolan back. I know that's really odd because he's not really that type of player at all. But I just want a slightly different... I want bodies in this midfield a little bit more to see if we can hold on to the ball better. In possession, we're going to take away our width, become much more compact, and we're going to lower the tempo a lot. We're going to waste as much time as we can. I think that will pretty much do. Slow the pace down there. And yeah, that should all be pretty much as I want it to be. So we'll confirm those changes and then go back into the game and just hope that we can hold on. That's all I want to do now, is hold on to this win and take those really valuable points back into the league for us. Horgan with our goal kick. The ball goes out wide right to O'Driscoll, but he loses out, and again it's an opportunity for St Patrick's to come down the left hand side, but they go centrally again and long over the top. Good clearance, and O'Driscoll carries on the clearance but doesn't quite get all the way out. Phew, a ball goes over the top, but it's Horgan that comes out and dominates his penalty area, which is really positive play from the goalkeeper, and he sends it long to Dunn. But Dunn again loses out, and again St Patrick's go back over the top, but a good defensive header from O'Riordan this time, and we maintain our shape, but they come back at us one more time. Oh no, a long shot that, you know, has got nothing to do with how we set the shape up, really, was it? They just found a bit of space. Was it Clifford or whatever his name is? I'm not quite sure who it was. Clifford there onto Marquet, and it's back to Clifford, and what a shot that is from like 30 yards out or whatever it is, 25 yards out. And that's just unfortunate. A player versus our goalkeeper, and the player won. It's simple as that. And here they come again. Please tell me we're not going to get dumped on severely enough to get nothing from the game. And the ball goes out for a corner kick, and we're right under the cosh. Was it right to go defensive? I think it probably was, but you know, it's providing some heart in the mouth moments for the last few minutes of the game. Again, the good shot comes in, but Horgan's up to that one and parries it wide. But we don't manage to get it clear. We've still got a lot of work to do to get it clear, and it hits the woodwork, and oh no. Now, is that me or is that just the game? Did I make a tactical error? You tell me. What did you think? Would you have gone defensive at that point, considering how we were doing in the game at the time and the fact that we've suffered so many defeats? I thought we had to try and do something, but it's obviously something has gone against us, and they've taken the momentum away from us, and now they've come back to 3-2, and I'm kind of a bit sort of punch drunk by it, really. And now they have another opportunity. I think we went wrong, didn't we? Probably. I'll have to hold my hands up to that one, but I thought it was the right thing to do and try and see out the game, and it didn't quite work for us. One last attempt for us? No, it goes straight to their defensive players, and they come back at us, and there's the final whistle. And what an absolute punch to the gut that is. We played so well for that first hour, and then the minute they got their goal back, it seemed to just completely transform the game. Now, whether my changes were all responsible for that, I don't think they were necessarily. That second goal they scored was just a bit of class from one of their players, wasn't it? But how disappointing. Some good ratings in there, and we did play pretty well. So there's some stuff to take as positives. So we're not going to be too hard on them. I can't fault your effort. Nobody expected us to win, but you gave everything. Let's give it that. And, they're happy enough with that. And I think that's, the best way to go with that sort of game. So close to a couple more points, though, wasn't it? And you can see that the teams directly above us are not winning their games. So we can close that gap if we do pick up some points. But as I said to you already, St Patrick's are now sitting in second place, and we've got third, fourth and fifth to play in the next 3 games. It's not going to get any easier, is it? Oh dear. Oh well, take a deep breath, move on. Let's go and have a look at the schedule to see what we're going to come back for. Sorry, random click of the mouse there that didn't quite work for me. So we've got these next 3 games. We're going to come back against Shamrock Rovers, and just catch up on what we did over those 3-4 games and put Bohemians in there as well. So we'll come back for Shamrock Rovers and see where we're at that point. But that, for me now, as in terms of where I sit and where we're actually recording these episodes, that'll be after Christmas. I'm going to take a week off now for my Christmas, 2019's Christmas. And so I hope you all have an amazing festive season. If you're watching these videos, I wish you all the best for a brilliant Christmas. I will put a couple of episodes in just before the new year. But I'm now going to have a few days off, just celebrate myself, which will be fabulous. So I'll play a little bit through that period myself, and then we'll come back for Shamrock Rovers in the next episode. So if you're enjoying the series, why not subscribe to the channel, keep up to date with the videos. If you enjoyed this particular episode, then why not click a like on it for me? That's really helpful. It's so important for the growth of my channel that if you can click that like button for me, it helps me get seen by other people, which is really important. So if you could do that, that would be amazing. If you're playing Football Manager yourself, let me know how your save is going in the comments below. Always interested to hear your stories. But until next time, happy Christmas. Take care of yourselves. I will see you soon, and bye for now.